Ready to redefine your talent strategy? Let's make Redefine the word of the year for your success. Introducing RAS, Recruitment as a Service. Outsource your talent strategy with the O'Connor Group. Our four-tiered approach is crafted to align with your business, whether you're launching a startup or leading a thriving corporation. Our cost-effective solutions are designed to elevate your business and enhance your people strategy, ensuring scalability and strategic growth. Redefine your recruitment strategy with RAS.
Hey, and welcome back. This is Marcia O'Connor. I am the Shadow Her host here at Shadow Her Podcast. And today, again, we have an amazing woman entrepreneur, and her name is Sue Meitner, and she is the owner and founder. She is an amazing female, by the way, but she actually is a mortgage expert and speaker, and she's going to talk about her entire journey today, which has been truly amazing, starting from nothing. And then selling her business, writing 2 books. I mean, we're going to go through a bunch of different things here too. But Sue, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Marcia. It's always great being with you, and talking to other female entrepreneurs is one of my most favorite things to do.
Oh, I'm so excited. You have such a story. And as you know, Shadow Her is for entrepreneurs that are basically in that 100K to 400K, and they're learning about their operations and becoming much stronger in that world, because you need to have under the car hood has to work smoothly for the business to move smoothly. And a lot of women basically beat themselves up and don't spend the time to do it. So shadowher.org was formed to help all that information out there. But having women entrepreneurs on the show is very instrumental as to why people are entrepreneurs and what they learn and the little tips and tricks. So we can just share a few golden nuggets today. It's all worth it.
All
But you have a great story. So you started out, in your whole world. I mean, you started a long time ago, and being a mom of 2, you had to handle a lot on your own. Let's just go back to the beginning and let's go through that story. So talk to me when basically you got to be into an entrepreneur world.
So I think that I've always been in the entrepreneur world because right out of college, I started to learn about mortgage from the inside out. So it was back in the 90s. I'm so dating myself, but it was back in the 90s when my boss at the time came to me, and they were giving lots of pink slips. And he came to me and he said, I know you want to go into sales. And even though it's not the perfect time in mortgage to be you going out on the street, I think that, for us to save some more jobs, right, who people don't want to go and be salespeople, we're going to put you out onto sales. And I said, okay, how much am I going to make to do that? And they said, you're going to make nothing. You're going to go into 100% commission world. And here I am, a 24, 25-year-old thinking, oh my goodness, like, how am I going to make my car payment? So they gave me, and that was my first real journey in entrepreneurship, because when you're a salesperson, you are an entrepreneur. You're making what you make what you kill. So You have to go hunt. And being an entrepreneur is being a hunter. Like, you have to have the energy, you have to have the momentum, you have to have the gumption to go out and ask for the business. So in my early 20s, I went out and I asked for the business, and I was a very successful salesperson. And then I was a very successful sales manager. And then in 2008 and 2009, during the whole hot crash of, the banking industry, the housing industry, I just felt that there needed to be a better way for my clients and customers that to not have the red tape, for people who care. And that was when I decided to open up my own mortgage company. And I had been a very successful manager and ran a mortgage company, and I just didn't think it was getting done the right way. So I went to my family and I said, I just don't know that it's being done the right way. And they said, well, if it's not being done the right way, you need to go do it yourself. And at the time I was a mom of 2, a single mom of 2. I younger kids under 10. And I was like, I'm not old enough to do that. And I was about 40. I was going to be 40. And my dad was like, yeah, you're old enough to do whatever you want to do. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm not in my 20s anymore. What are you talking about? So I decided to start a mortgage company, and I needed $3 million. And I went out and I had to find the money to do it right, because I wanted to be a correspondent lender. I did not want to be a broker. And I went out and did it. And we went to and it was fiery. I mean, I kept on thinking I was every hurdle I had to get through. I was jumping through a fiery hula hoop, and sometimes I felt like I had to jump through it naked. So I had to get my bond. I had to get my insurance. I had to get a line of credit. I didn't even know that I would needed a warehouse line to fund my loans. Like, I literally just had a checklist of things that I needed to start this mortgage company. And I went through the checklist, and I was bound and determined. And yeah, did things happen that like crushed me during that time? Yeah, I had my best friend who had worked with me forever, and a guy who I had mentored decide that when I opened up my own mortgage company, even though they said they were going to come with me, decide not to come with me.
Ugh.
And then they took all my business with them.
Oh.
I had given them over the years, and my clients.
Oh,
so, when loyalty out the window in business sometimes. And I'm sure that they had the best intentions for them and their family. I'm sure that they didn't mean to crush my spirit 100%. But like, this is the business world. And I had to remember that, I went through a child being born hearing impaired, deaf. And then I've gone through a divorce. My mom never showed up at my office to make sure I was okay until the day I told her that these two weren't coming with me with my new mortgage company. Like, she showed up at my office, and she said to me, you know what, Sue, if this is something, you have two decisions to make. You can decide, and either decision is a great decision to make. You can decide that you just want to go this route, don't want to go this route, that you just want to keep things as they are. Or you can decide that this is what you want to do. Put your big girl panties on,
right?
And do it, and not let anyone stop you. And I said, Mama, it's something I really want to do. And she said, well, then don't let anyone stop you, and go do it.
Great advice.
And that's exactly. And I never looked back. But my first days of thinking that I was going to have these two people with me for the rest of my career and the rest of my life. I mean, one was the godmother of my children. Oh my gosh. Saying to me, best friend since high school, and saying to me that she's not coming with me. I remember she told me at lunch in public restaurant, and I was hysterical crying. And you know what? I told myself I would never have anyone ever hurt me and make me cry like that again. So it was a lesson, but it was a girl's lesson. So you want raw, you want real, and shadow her, Marcia.
I do.
I'm bringing it.
It's not all roses and dancing. It's really a lot of work and behind the scenes information here. So people don't realize it's a lot of work. So no, this is great.
Yeah.
So do you talk to this person anymore? No.
She washed her hands with me. But you know what? It's really hard, and not that she or her it's sad.
Yeah.
But not that once you're so involved as an entrepreneur in your business, and your business is personal,
and
your life is your business, we tried to be friends afterwards, and I give her all the credit in the world. But it was so cross-contaminated, because my life was my business. So how do you talk to somebody who's your friend about your business and not talk about business when it's all encompassing?
You can't.
It's something that you can't. And plus, she was also a mortgage person. So, and I had brought her in and trained her and like given her that life. So I also needed to be okay with that was her choice. And that was hard for me to reckon with.
Sure.
So no, I'm not. It hurts too much, to be honest. And you have to save your hurt sometimes for other things.
Yeah.
So no. Have I tried? Yeah, I've tried, but that's not my decision. That's her decision.
It's so crazy, the experiences of life and people, and and you think you know them all, but sometimes you just don't. and you learn from it, but you grow from it as well. And
Yeah, well,
I mean, you grew your business.
yeah, and I think as an entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur, you have to be okay with losing friends sometimes. It is very hard for people to
Yes.
for people to understand where you are in life, and for people to respect that, and for other people not to be jealous of it at times. And I think you have to talk about that with other strong women. You have to talk about the jealousy factor, and
Yeah.
that there is some. I mean, I have a true amazing best friend who champions my wins as I champion her wins, and that's a win. To find a friend who champions your wins is something that you definitely need.
You do, but I think sometimes people take it for granted, and and it feels like the giving tree, right? It's like you give this and give out and give and give, and sometimes you forget to take care of yourself. And I think women are notorious for that, especially women entrepreneurs. And it's really, really difficult. But then you grew your business to a nice size. I mean, you took it and you grew it. How many employees did you have at the time?
So I took my business in 2010, and through 2018, we had over 100 employees. We had about 124 employees, and we were a $400 million company. We produced about $400 million in business a year.
It's crazy.
And one of the things that I would tell lots of entrepreneurs that are listening right now, like, be prepared for the takeoff. We probably were not. I was not prepared. I did not have. Well, first off, I thought I was going to be paperless, and I wasn't paperless initially. So I'm like, just those little things that you have to think about. Like, I had no place for filing cabinets. Just those things that people don't think about. And then when we transitioned to paperless, that was a whole nother thing.
Sure.
And then, do I have enough room? And I had desks, like upon desks at the time, because we were all working within the same office.
Wow.
So, and then I had to get extra space, and there were just things that just took off. And I don't think that I was as good at, I was good at some things that I wasn't good at other things, that if I was going to do it all over again, which I wouldn't do it all over again, I would be much better. But because I was able to live those experiences, like, I think that I should have seen a balance sheet every day. I didn't see a balance sheet every day. Somebody, a wise board member who runs a huge company right now in Philadelphia, said, I get a balance sheet every day.
Yep.
And I thought that just telling my CFO and controller, if the money ever gets to here, you need to run to me, not walk to me,
right,
wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And I think one month they made a $500,000 mistake, and they couldn't figure out where that $500,000 was. But if I was getting balance sheets every day, I would have been able to have that 24-hour period. So that's a golden nugget that I would tell every entrepreneur to get, is a balance sheet on their desk from their CEO or CFO or controller, if you're lucky enough to have both or one, every day.
So what happened then? That's a pretty expensive mistake.
Yeah, so nobody could tell me, and I had to fire the CFO. And when I fired the CFO, no one, nobody could tell me. I mean, for all I know, it just vanished. And we were also in the midst of a huge lawsuit because somebody had gone after all of my salespeople.
Oh my God.
And offered them pretty much blank checks to go with them. So we were in the middle of, we had to sue, and our attorney bills were $600,000. It was insane.
Oh my God.
So we have lots of money. We had lots of money coming in. We had lots of money going out. So, but you had to protect yourself. But these are all things as an entrepreneur, you have lawyers, and you have a board, and you have people who are making decisions with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets out of control. And we had hit the Fortune 500 list. We had hit lots of great lists, and we had fantastic trajectory that we weren't prepared for, because I was working in my business most of the time, not on my business.
Right.
Another great nugget. And, it was just a roller coaster, and it was a good roller coaster, because I learned a ton. but knowing your finances is the most important part. And then when I fired the CFO, I didn't hire another one right away or at all. So I was doing it. And I don't have my degree in any of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do. But with that, we're going to take a few minute break here, and we're going to come back to that because you said something very important about working in the business versus on the business.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that and how you switched over to that. So stay tuned.
Ready to redefine your talent strategy? Let's make Redefine the word of the year for your success. Introducing RAS, Recruitment as a Service. Outsource your talent strategy with the O'Connor Group. Our four-tiered approach is crafted to align with your business, whether you're launching a startup or leading a thriving corporation. Our cost-effective solutions are designed to elevate your business and enhance your people strategy, ensuring scalability and strategic growth. Redefine your recruitment strategy with RAS.
And we're back here with Shadow Her Podcast. I'm Marcia O'Connor. I am the host for Shadow Her Podcast, and I am with my lovely guest today, Sue Meitner. She has sold her business. She's a mortgage expert and speaker, and she was just talking about working in the business versus on the business. And basically, you were in the weeds there. And how did that hold you back, Sue?
So I feel it held me back because I wasn't able to see things that were happening. I wasn't able to get the reports on my desk that I felt that I needed to work, on my business instead of in my business because I was in the weeds. We would get audited by the state of Pennsylvania, and I was the one who was going through all the files, making sure everything was okay. We get, and that isn't the way it should have been.
Right.
In hindsight, if I would have felt that I could hire people and train them to be as good as I was, then I could have taken a bigger role. And the role can be bigger than you are. Take a bigger role to look down and see the big picture and the trajectory of it. I think that that's super important. I would have done more retreats. I would have done more training. I would have done things to help. I was empowering the company. That's why it was so good. But I would have done more to not only empower, but enrich. And I think that that's super important in today's world, that the entrepreneurs really work on the day-to-day of them so that they can give it to everybody else. I had nothing to give. I was in it for 8 straight years. I was in it. And when I wasn't in it, I was a mom in it. So I would go back and forth, and it's hard to go from like CEO hat and then mom hat and CEO hat and mom hat. And sometimes I would be like mom as a CEO, and that never works. So I think that that's really important to, get the classes. And I did do some of that, but I should have done more of it and take time for me.
Yeah.
In the time off to when you have blank time, you're able to open your brain and have things come in and thoughts come in that can help enhance. But when you're just in the trenches doing just the root things every day, you don't have time to open your brain for those great thoughts to come in. And that thinking time to have clarity and focus and vision is so, so, so important as you're a CEO, especially taking that business from the 100 to the 400 to the $1 million mark. It is like so important. And people ask me like all the time, like, well, why are you still doing it? Why do you still give mortgages to people? It's because that's my passion and that's my love. That's what made Centennial lending such a success, is because I was in it not only for the loan officers and the originators, I was in it for the buyers and the homeowners to get the house of their dreams and build wealth. And that's what my passion was and is today. That's why I'm still doing it.
And you do a great job of it. But like, what did you learn though? Because entrepreneurs on here are in that beginning stages, and they're in that 100K to 400K of revenue. And you're like, what did you learn that you needed more people, that you needed to basically like do those retreats and go away from this and come back in it? I mean, who taught you that?
Yeah, so I think that being with other entrepreneurs taught me that. Over time, being with like-minded individuals and people together taught me, because I was boots on the ground. No, but there was no other entrepreneurs that I knew except
Right.
for the people at the entrepreneurs organization, which I funneled myself into. I knew one guy who was in the entrepreneurs organization, and guess what? My first year of being in business, those were my goals. Whatever I had to do to get into that organization is what I did, and that was my 12-month goal. And after 12 months, people always ask, how do you know when you became a part of the entrepreneurs organization? I knew it because they were all my first goals. So having the goals and setting the goals of where I wanted my business to be was the first thing I did. And that's how I knew that I needed help. What I truly feel I needed now, looking back, was a person to be me. We should have had a president of the company and a CEO to run the day-to-day operations. It's hard to run a company, run sales, and run operations. You really need 3 separate people to do all those things.
Yep.
To get that done effectively. And we had enough revenue to do that. We just didn't do it. Yeah. The other thing that I would tell people is they need a fantastic CPA. You need, and not that I didn't have a fantastic CPA, but I didn't have a fantastic CPA looking out for me.
Correct.
I had a fantastic CPA looking out for the company, which drove me then into a huge tax liability that would have put any normal person under. So it should have been separate entities. I should have had a CPA for me, protecting me, working with the company CPA to make sure that I was not being taken advantage of, which in all reality, my board and the way Centennial Lending Group at the time was run was putting me into financial ruins by the way that I was taxed and not realizing it.
And you don't, because nobody has a little book that says, oh, by the way, if this is a red flag, you're going to do this.
By the way, hi, your company did amazing, but since you own 70% of the company, you have 70% of the profitability tax liability. So hi, your bill for taxes this year is $330,000, even though that's not what you netted. So how do you do that?
And that's where a really good tax accountant is handy, because they should have told you that sooner so that you can plan for it and how to allocate things and all. And they don't tell you that until after the fact. I love when I get a phone call the week of when taxes are due. And, oh, by the way, your tax bill should be this. I'm like, where have you been? And that's, you have to make sure that, and don't be the nice people out there, ladies. Let me tell you something. Do what's best for you and your company, and don't do it. Oh, they're a good person. I hear that all the time. This isn't about being a good person. This is about using business sense. And that's what basically is going to keep you alive out there, because no one's going to care about your company as much as you do, ever. So always keep that in mind out there. So these are the things that you learn. And then you had gotten really, obviously, and then you had sold, and now you're doing what you're doing now too. And basically, you're still in the mortgage industry, but these are entrepreneurs that are learning and sharing. And these are such great golden nuggets you're sharing. What's that one thing, if you could share somebody who is probably just hiring their first or second person, to do, and keeping the faith in this crazy economy, what's that golden nugget that you're going to give them right now?
Yeah. So, my core values are trusted, committed, and determined. They're mine, and they're my company's. But when you're hiring, you need to have confidence, you need to trust yourself, and you need to make sure that that person's loyal.
Yes.
So there is nothing that your gut instinct will tell you if you should hire them or not. Right. And then you need to do a disc test and see if they're loyal. I don't hire anyone who I don't feel is loyal. Loyalty is a value. It's not a core value, but it's a value of mine that I feel you have to have it. And that doesn't mean that they need to be loyal and stay with you for the rest of their lives.
Right.
But they need to be loyal to the company and they need to be loyal to you.
Yep.
And you will be able to tell those people, I've hired a lot of people. And then you need to hire slow and fire fast. As soon as you feel something's gone awry and they're not protecting you or your company, then you have to let them go. And that's hard because when you let someone go, it falls on you. Yep. That extra responsibility falls on you. And sometimes you don't want to do that. Even though you might not want to you don't want to do the wrong thing. You might not do the right thing because you don't want that responsibility to fall on you. And I have let people stay far too long because I couldn't take any more work on.
Yeah, but
mentally or physically. And I think mentally it's super important to talk about like your mental state while you're, I feel that I missed huge parts of, from 2010 to 2018. I mean, even though that was a long time ago, I kind of think like, God, did that happen? Like, was my house a 5-ring circus? Yeah, it was a 5-ring circus. I give great advice to moms. So I love giving mom advice because I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old. And every journey and every chapter of each journey is different. And I feel like I was a mom on fire half the time.
You are.
But
you are.
Talking to my children now, like they really loved that they could say that they have a badass mom now. They might not have liked that then, but they love that now. And they respect me because I've stood my ground at different times. And even though at times they might have been embarrassed I was standing my ground because they're like, Mom, please don't do that, or don't say that. But I always felt that I had to stand my ground. So, and being confident as a woman is not easy. And I would also say, give other women the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
That they might have a bad day. Like, I really believe that women need to be more kind to women.
Oh, God, yes.
And it hurts my heart sometimes that we're not as kind to other women as we should be. It is hard for other women to find other women friends.
Yep.
I have found in my life by people being not a good friend to me how to be a better friend. And that is super important.
Yep.
In society, especially with other women entrepreneurs. Have grace, have kindness to other women, and it will come back in spades for you. It's so important that we share that with each other. And I went to an all-girl school, and I think that some of the women in that all-girl school are difficult at times and not kind. And I want to be around people who are kind. So also surround yourself with the 5 greatest women that you can possibly find. And when you find those 5 great women, raise them up and have them be part of your tribe. It's super important for you to have a tribe during being an entrepreneur, no matter what that is. And I have found being coached and being coachable has allowed me to have a tribe of women that I would give the world to.
Yeah. But it's up to us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make sure that we do that. And I think that's also the things you learn through life of wishing that I wish I would have known more, when I first started out being in business now, almost 17 years. It's just like, wow, this is pretty cool. It worked. It took off and all, but the things you still learn that I wish people knew sooner. And I hear these women going through such struggles and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't someone tell you that sooner? So if you hear these nuggets out there, share it with your bunch of women, put it out there on email, put it out there on LinkedIn. That's why I have my women's, my CEO roundtable once a month, because we share that one tidbit that they should have known 6 years ago.
Yeah, I have an Instagram account. Anyone can follow me at Sue Meitner on Instagram. And I started to do this, what I'm wearing on a daily basis, because I don't feel that people even know what to wear sometimes as a profession. So I started, and people were asking me, how do you style that? How do you put that together? Do you just go to one place and buy everything? And I have a mishmash of stuff. So I just said, I'm just going to put it out there every day. I'm going to give mortgage tips and I'm going to give styling tips. And one of the things I love is style. So I was like, I'm going to do that, because what makes my heart sing? How do I find joy every day? And if you go into your office and you're not finding joy every day, you need to make there be joy. You need to make there be laughter. We all laugh in this office. Like, we're dealing with people's finances, the most stressful point of their life most of the time. And we need to laugh. And laughter makes the world go round, and we laugh every single day. So people said a couple years ago when I was doing TikToks that it was crazy. Like, how can a mortgage person do TikToks? Well, I wanted to lighten things up in my office, and I felt that it was like team building at the same time. So we do TikToks, and you know what? We get to laugh and we get to have fun together, and that's what makes people want to come to work every day. That's what makes people want to be part of Centennial Lending Group.
And that's a key piece of it. But if you've given us so many nuggets today, and people definitely reach out to her on Instagram, she is available all the time. And if someone wants to email you, what's your email address?
So my email is Sue Meitner, SueMeitner at CLG, Cat Larry George, homeloans.com.
And, I say this every time we have a podcast, like, reach out to these people. They are so well worth it. It's just like free information that you can get. Having a quick call and asking her anything is out there.
Yeah,
what are you reading right now?
I think being on social media is super important to get, especially in the 100 to 400, entrepreneurs out there. Being on social media, getting a social media expert to help you, telling people what your product is, what you do. I mean, don't keep it a secret. If you keep it a secret, no one's going to use you. So you have to be out there and you have to tell. And Marcia, you do better than anyone else with networking and bringing people together. I mean, you are a powerhouse in our community of women entrepreneurs. And, we are just better because we have you in it.
Oh, you're the best, honey. Well, likewise, because you're a powerhouse myself. I think you don't understand how powerful that you've had and the adversities that you've overcome to becoming where you're at today. And the fact that you're always still smiling, you're still sending stylish, communications out there and all, with a smile on your face, because we have to get back up every single time, and it gets hard. And there are sometimes I think you get to a point where you don't want to get up. And you're like, why am I doing this? And so you have to realize, like, what's your why? Always remember what's your why in this, because there's going to be the really great days and going to be a lot of really bad days. So hang around your friends. It could be men or female, but really utilize them as much as possible. So on the last note there, what are you reading right now? So
I knew you were going to ask me that question. So, but no, I am reading something right now. I have a couple different books, but I'm reading Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt.
Wow.
So I think that it's super important to see. It's right on my desk.
Yeah.
And I listen to it and I read it. And it's super great on how to go back to the basics, how to make sure you're constantly prospecting. And as a CEO, as a founder of a company, you are prospecting every single day. Yep. You are the hunter for you, for you and your company. That's super important to do every single day. And he has a great, this is a great book. That is what I'm reading right now. And I am enjoying it.
Oh, awesome. I love hearing good stuff and good tips out there.
I have another one too.
I knew you would.
Yeah. This book, Exactly What to Say, is super, super, super important. It gives just basic things. It's easy, big print, and easy to read. And then, hey, if you ever want a great read, you can always read Crazy Lucky Girl, Do You Have the Keys to Success, which was my first book that I wrote 10 years ago as an Amazon bestseller. So can you believe it's been 10 years?
No, we're just getting younger. That's all. So yeah. It's a positive thing. But you've written a book. You're a mama too. You had a company. You fired a CFO. You went through all this crazy stuff. You sold a company. Chiclet. there's nothing that you cannot do. So it's pretty cool.
Well, there's nothing that women can't do if they set their mind to it. It's not an anomaly. It's just really setting your mind and writing your goals. I mean, you can see I have my vision board right there. I look at it every single day. Having a vision of what you want and going after it. It's all in your mindset, and it's all based on the laws of attraction and the laws of supply. So we have anything out there that we put our mind to. It's just a matter of making it happen. And sometimes we get down and don't want to, just as you said, we all have bad days. And I think that giving ourselves that it's okay to have a bad day. And I think of the time when I was selling my company and I signed an agreement not to talk about it. And I had to a confidentiality agreement that I could say nothing to any of my employees for like 2 weeks to a month. And I knew that I was going to be affecting all of their lives. And that was, but I had to do it for me, and it was the right time. And God was shining a light on me to make sure that all my ducks were in a row. And I felt that I was perpetrating a fraud coming into work every day. And you have to know when to say when and when to say you need help. So I went to a friend of mine who runs this wellness center, and I said, I need help. I've never felt anxiety like I'm feeling right now. How can you help me? And she wiped her calendar clean that day, her schedule, and she worked with me for a day.
That's great.
But if I didn't show up and say, Mercy, I need help, and her name's not Mercy, but if I didn't say, I need help, and to be able to get into my office, get up out of bed, and I had to do it for my children and for me. So I had to be a present mom, and I felt that I had lost being present. So I was struggling with these things, but I knew in my heart that it was right, and I knew where to get help. And then that let me be a better person, a better manager, a better owner, a better employee, a better everything, because I knew where to get the help. So if you don't know where to get the help, look for it. I dealt with the same thing when my daughter was born deaf. I didn't know where to look for help, so I started researching, and now my daughter has a cochlear implant, hears everything, and is a sophomore at the University of Alabama. You have to realize that your deck of cards is not a deck of cards that you can play every single day. You have to, know that you have only been given what you can handle, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to find that light, no matter what it is. And so you just have to, play your deck and research it, and the answers will come to you. And that's what I've always found. No matter what has gotten me down, I've always looked for the light, to the point where my friends call me. They go, "So I don't want you to give me the silver lining. I just want you to feel really bad for me right now. And then in 30 minutes, you can give me the silver lining." And I was like, okay. So I think that women entrepreneurs need to always have that positive mindset to get through and know that they can do whatever they put their mind to.
I couldn't agree with that. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up here. Can't thank you guys enough. This is Shadow Hers Podcast. I'm Marcia O'Connor, Shadow Her host, and I'm here with Sue Meitner, a Centennial mortgage broker. And she's a mortgage expert and speaker, author of 2 books, amazing mom, dear friend. Can't thank you enough, Sue. And for the ladies out there, don't give up. And don't forget, believe in you, because we do. All right, guys. Until next time. Take care, guys.
Thank you.